Alrighty, folks. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Launch Sequence podcast. I've got to change the size of this window for everybody who is here live. My friends, my people, we've got a special show today. That wasn't so bad. We got a special show today. I am in the middle of a streamathon, so I'm currently on hour 9 out of a 12-hour stream. Or hour 8 out of a 12-hour stream. You can see the time in the top left here if you're watching live. And we are taking a little break from playing 4.0, from doing a little exploration, from seeing what's going on around the game, to talk with some lovely individuals from around the community, some creators themselves, with quite the pedigree and interest in ships, because today, this week is no other week but a week of ships. So we're going to talk about IAE, but we're also going to talk about ships themselves, the construction of those ships, the development of them, how long they're taking, the backlog, what the heck's going on with the Gold Pass updates, all that kind of stuff, happy stuff, sad stuff, mad stuff, all of it. And I'm glad to be joined by these folks. So I'm going to give you guys a chance to introduce yourselves before we get fully into things. How about you go ahead and start us off, 5-Star? You may be muted.
Yeah, he muted himself.
Or I may have muted you. Give it another go. I think I heard you.
Hello.
You are there.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
Welcome.
Okay. What's up, everybody? My name is The5Star. I started making content pretty recently, like about a year ago, called Shadow Patch Notes, and stream pretty regularly on Twitch. Absolutely love the game. Been awesome being a part of the community, coming on shows like this, and I'm excited for today's pod. I have a lot to say about IAE in general this year.
I will say I actually watch 5-Star's Shadow Patch Notes all the time.
Yeah,
Hey,
it's good
appreciate
stuff.
that, man.
They're
I
really
watch
good.
Astro a lot.
Watch them a fair bit too. Yeah, I watch them a fair bit as well.
It's good stuff. Thank you for coming on, man. I think it's your second one, right?
Yeah, and thank you. I had a lot of fun last time, so I was looking forward to it.
Appreciate it. Wookie. Mr. Wicked Wookie. Wicked. Sorry, dude.
Wookie.
Who are you?
Good morning, Stanton. This is Scooter coming to you from the beautiful Space Tomatoes basement. All the ships are 50% off. Hit buy now.
What are you doing in my basement, man? Nobody's supposed to be in that house.
This is where they keep the scooters, apparently. Yeah.
Everybody knows Scooter.
So I'm Wicked Wookie. Obviously, I'm more well known for doing Scooterly Scooter or Meemaw. My stuff is not very educational, but hopefully it's fun.
Are you kidding me? I've learned more about pop culture from the 80s than from you than I've learned in my own time.
It's an important topic.
In the 80s.
I thought that was how all Americans talked. I was just learning American history.
Listen,
I was British earlier.
As a Texan, I can say this is exactly how all Americans talk. If anybody else doesn't talk like this, then it's obviously they're not American.
We're just fake American. We're just hiding our culture.
How it works.
Suppressing it. Well, thank you as well for joining me, Wookie. Looking forward to what you have to say, and I really like what you've done with your hair for this show. It's looking good.
Thank you.
Execute, my friend. We got we've done a show together, us three, three times now in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, man, I'm not good at self-promotion, but the Infrunners cover ships a lot, gameplay associated ships, how to get ships cheaper, all that type of thing. So yeah, if you like ships and you want to know information about ships and the game, that's us.
Ships.
I think that covers it. Yeah.
CCUs.
And you'll see these two on it every once in a while.
You're gonna see regular videos every single day on ships during IAE from this guy and the crew. So check in on those; they're worth it. An AstroHistorian.
Hello. Hold on. Scooter.
When are you changing your channel name to Lorstradamus?
Let me. Since I can't be stood up by Scooter, I gotta do the start. Hold on.
Okay. Yes.
My name is Paul Shelley, and welcome to the AstroHistorian. This is a channel dedicated to exploring and explaining the lore of sci-fi and space universes and discussing their impact. Today, I am on Space Tomatoes podcast, the Citizen Central, talking about ships, the ships of Star Citizen, and where they come from. I do the AstroHistorian YouTube channel. I also do the Captain's Table podcast, and you can also catch me at the Astro Pub on Twitch and YouTube. So
I genuinely, hearing you go into that spiel, I could hear the New Soul Sounds music in the background along with it because I've listened to your freaking, we've listened to that history in the verse so much.
All the lore of Castra just coming in.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to crowdfund.
I'm still doing the victory
and a
laps
pipe.
on calling Castra. That's all. I'm still doing victory laps on Castra. That's all.
That was a group effort. Come on.
Yeah.
That was a group effort. That wasn't you on a solo. That was like a lot of brainstorming between a lot of us to get that
was me coming to you and saying I have a crazy idea, and then we all looked at it together and continued.
You forget the leak.
Correct.
You forget the leak as well.
No, the short story for those of you who don't know is when I looked at the back when the roadmap was alphabetized, so it was incorrect. So like even the unknowns, you could figure out what the unknowns were about because they'd fall in alphabetical order. One of the ones that were up there was some sort of systems because it was in the same sort of like planets. It was the same categorization. It was like stuck between a couple planets, like some planets in Pyro and stuff for the progress tracker, and there was just 2. And so I went through and I'm like 2. And I went through and said, where are there 2 planets? Which system has 2 planets and only 2 planets? And I looked around and I found the closest one was Castra, and because it had 2 planets. And then I realized, wait, it has a jump point to both Nyx and Pyro. This is definitely it. This is definitely what they're working on. And I walked that just sort of came tumbling down out of my brain because I also looked it up and like, why do they have like 7 concept art pieces of Castra? That's a lot of concept art for something that has, when like Magnus has 1, for instance. So it's like, wow, it's a lot of concept art. Wonder what's going on. So yeah, sorry about that.
I'm glad it's Castra because the music's great. Although it's Pedro, like what the heck? We were just playing through 4.0 just now and like walking around on the planets, man. The music is just so good. It's
you gotta have the music on. It's crazy. Crap. Like you land on Bloom and it's just like, damn.
Yeah, great ambiance. So anyways, folks, thank you for joining me today. We've got a lot to talk about, so we're going to dive straight into the ship talk, starting with IAE and how we're feeling about it. Specifically, you feeling better about it, worse about it this year than other years? Like, where does this year fall in line with the rest of IAEs you've been a part of?
This one, I'm gonna be honest, is a little lackluster, at least for me. I feel like the Intrepid didn't really hit. There hasn't really been any big things that came out. I think the big thing for me was Miskaday and how they didn't sell the BLD, which is really crazy to me, and they didn't sell the Mirai Guardian. I've been speculating since SitCon why they haven't sold any of the building ships, and I really don't know why.
Why do you think that is?
So my gut reaction went to the Galaxy fiasco, but now there was a new development, which I'm sure we'll get into a little later.
That was my fault, by the way.
What was?
I asked John Crew and Ben Curtis, and then went home and did a stream, and it went from my stream to Spectrum, and then exploded.
Oh, well, I'm glad you did, because I'm one of those people that impulse bought a Galaxy last year, so I was pretty mad. So that was my first instinct of why maybe they didn't do it, but now with the news we got today about the Pioneer, I think that might also feed into that as well.
What do we get about the Pioneer?
Oh, so get this. The Pioneer went up in price. We all saw this coming, right?
Yeah.
But on top of going up in price, they're now removing all of the land claims. Or, sorry, you're not going to get a land claim now when you buy the Pioneer.
How much did it go up by the way? I've been sleeping, so I probably
75. Yeah.
Oh,
75
that's not
bucks.
as much as I expected. Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah. But the big thing here is they removed the land claims. And they kind of stated that they're going to be changing how that works and all that. They didn't really give details, but they're like, oh, we're going to change this. If you have a Pioneer, you keep your land claim, I guess. So it's not going away, but they're not going to sell it anymore with the ship.
Man,
interesting.
They just constantly dealing with the past mistakes of themselves.
Yeah. So yeah, that got me questioning now. I'm pretty sure we won't get the CSV FM either on Argo Day, or the base building module for the Galaxy. Those are like the only 2 things I'm waiting for.
But at this point in IAE last year, how many ships had been revealed?
Uh, Thinking about it, there was only two.
There's only no. They basically have 3 for the entire sale usually,
Yeah, usually it's 3, and they had the Sulian,
and maybe
which
the
was the start.
Right.
And then what was day 3? Because it's almost like for some reason Aegis is always day 2.
So if you basically look at this, the one this year, it would be I'd be expecting stuff on Intrepid, RSI, and Anvil Day. That was the same as last year. I can't remember last year's schedule, obviously. So
I'm pulling it up right now.
So there were three ships that came to the game last year with IAE.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was Crusader, and it's Crusader. So that was when the C1 was released, I believe. And when the Storm was the Storm released then, or was it? Or was it? It was just C1.
No, Storm came out I think in a summer patch.
So.
Yeah, so it was I think it was the C1 was released last year because it was the Sulian, and the C1 was this day 3, day 4 was Origin, then Drake, and then Argo, and Argo had the SRV. Wow, I'm looking at all of this stuff was releasing, and then
I had the Arrastra,
so that's 4.
Mirai.
Yeah. And the SRV is a very impactful ship.
Well, you got to understand, sold for the first time and released are 2 very different things, right? So you got to separate them out.
Yeah, and I'm generally talking about
concept.
The ships that you see during this event, because I also think that those ships coming out before IAE started, and then the PTU obviously took away some of the bite of them being released for IAE.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Before we move on a bit, I do want to talk about the building ships. So the FM and the Starlancer BLD. From what I got told at CitizenCon, base building is a lot closer than we think. I actually think they originally intended to sell them at CitizenCon. And the other thing is, if you don't sell a CCU, then when the ship comes out and goes straight to live, everyone has to pay more money.
Mm-hmm. The price of the BLD is going to be very interesting. Because if it's more or less than the Galaxy, there's going to be controversy either way.
I think it's going to be roughly on par or a little more, just so people can upgrade to it.
Probably.
I'll say this year seems a little off, but I think a lot of the reason why it's off is because it's clear that CIG was planning on having 4.0 out before this IAE. So, like, the problem is that they've got 3 different events running at the same time. They've got 4.0, which has taken the thunder away from IAE. You have Save Stanton, which was supposed to have come out in like August and didn't come out in August. So it's also, especially the negative aspects of it, where it's like it's broken and things aren't working properly and all that sort of thing, that's taken away from the experience. And then on top of that, you've got the free flight and like the crashes and stuff. So like I started off at the beginning of the sale, really good performance, and then it's just been sort of rolling the dice throughout the entirety of this one so far. And then on top of that, the floors are broken, so you only have 1 day, not 2 days for every haul, and they're not going to be able to fix it till the end of the haul. So it's like it started off with bad taste and is consistently kind of breaking down. It feels like everything's just sort of falling apart as it goes along. So it's hard to get really excited for something, and at this point, it feels more like it's gonna sound awful, but I feel like, hey, just get it over with. Just get it done.
That's probably what they're thinking, man. They're like, we just want to get through this and get 4.0 out, and like,
Yeah, my friend couldn't get off. He couldn't get off Microtech.
Vendors double dogs are pretty good this year.
Oh, that's good.
That's a hot card.
I like a good year for double dogs. Well, so it is. It feels kind of indicative of what happened the rest of the year, which is like a lot of small things slowly built up that just have kept different people unhappy for different reasons, but ultimately it leads to a whole bunch of people relatively unhappy. Not to say that everybody is unhappy about how IAE is going, but I do think that it sounds like everybody's pretty in agreement that like it's a little bit different this year. How are you feeling, Wookie?
I don't know. I try to be optimistic as I can. My real question is, why do we have purple again? But just a
question.
Blue purple.
Actually, frustration is the color of purple. So
just gotta accept that IAE is an event, and the theme of the event is purple now.
Apparently, I was thinking about this though, because I guess it's a little different for different people. In the past, like I've always looked forward to IAE, like I was before I did like content creation, I was really excited to go do it. And it felt like an actual event. I'm like, man, look at all this stuff. As time goes on, you kind of get used to it. And then now, especially with them opening up Evocati and stuff, everybody's kind of seeing everything well before it comes out. That's kind of the name of the game, put the new stuff out so people can see it. But the bad side of that is it's kind of like IAE happens like 1 or 2 weeks before IAE. So it kind of takes some of the thrill out of it from, a average gamer's
Yeah,
perspective.
with that and with patches in general, right? Like the longer you're following the project, you start to get a little more jaded with things like that because you participate in PTUs and you watch more content, so you kind of experience it before you experience it, like you were saying.
Yeah,
Don't worry. It goes to another level again where you get to acceptance. Don't worry. You'll be there soon.
there's a whole conversation to be had around the idea of how early should some people be able to play versus others. For some people, that doesn't make any difference. For other people, for some people, seeing something before you get to play means that there's absolutely no point in you playing it. It's completely lost all value if you've seen it before. And then there's a whole spectrum of people in between there. But Star Citizen as a whole game is like that. Some people will get the ability to jump into Star Citizen when it reaches 1.0, having never seen anything in this game before. They won't have the jade, they won't have the trauma or the unhappiness, or even, maybe the appreciation for some of the stuff that went on in development. They're just gonna jump in and see it versus somebody else who maybe has been following it this whole time. When it finally reaches 1.0, they realize, oh, it's not really that special.
While some of the ships kind of came out like the Intrepid and people were not liking them, I still feel the sale from my point of view is the same as almost every other year. It always starts out with the starter ship and kind of builds to that bigger ship at the end. But as Paul said, it does seem a little bit lower than other years. And the views at the start, everyone tracks their statistics, right? So the views were lower, but they're already building and they're now higher than normal. Right, so I don't know what it is. Maybe it was just the first couple of days, but now they're all going up again, and they're going up higher than normal. So I don't know.
What's going up?
View
The
counts.
view counts
like
are going
videos.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like Crusader was fairly low. There's a lot of people. Obviously the Intrepid, so they didn't really care. But then as we're going to Aegis Day and Alien Day, the views are higher than normal on most episodes. So I just think it's a slow start because of the Intrepid. Probably is what I'm trying to say.
How do you? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
How do you guys feel about all the hubbub surrounding the Intrepid? A little bit of drama there, huh?
Yeah,
It's a fine ship.
I agree. So I saw your video, Space Tomato. I really liked it, but I think one thing that you didn't mention that I think a lot of people didn't really mention is there's of course there's that gap with the Titan. The big thing is the construction grav cart is like everything in my head because the construction grav cart for base building can fit in the Cutter and in the Avenger Titan. It does not fit in the Intrepid. So that means the Cutter and the Avenger Titan are essentially base building starters in a way. So that's like in my head another thing that even furthers the gap more.
That's a good point. Do we know how big that thing is?
It looked pretty chunky, bigger than the cargo thing can fit in the Intrepid.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
It's the grav cart from the. Oh no, y'all talking about a different one. So
the base building thing
from the depot. It ain't gonna fit.
No, the base building from CitizenCon this year. The hub
Like
range
really
thing.
smaller.
It's
like
pretty
a really
wide.
fat coffin.
I'd be interested if they tried to size that to be like the size of the same standard size as an SCU in terms of width, just for the sake of
That would make logical sense, Space Tomato. Come on, you can't do that.
I think the idea is that they want to make it into a cutter. So if you can get into a cutter, that's their standard metric because cutter seems to be their new.
Yeah, but he makes a good point.
Starter.
He makes a good point about it not fitting in the Intrepid, and I think that would be that's like it very much is sitting on a sort of a fulcrum, a pivot point of like usefulness versus not when it comes to base building.
Yeah, I just thought it was another good point to keep in mind.
Yeah, maybe you can also just shove it into the hallway.
Well, taking what you said the other day, Space, about how we should look at what things are best at, I still think people are looking at this ship a little wrong, and I kind of agree with Paul's take on it, that it's really a smuggling ship, and I think that's how it really needs to look at. Like, if you actually go look at other stats on this thing, it's got an incredibly high fuel amount, and it can go really, like, a lot further than a lot of the other ships can, and I think that's going to be a boon that we won't see until Pyro lands. You know, where other starter ships can't make the jump, this thing will be able to make the jump.
The only thing I'm a little worried about is that the speed is a little low. But that's just a modification. If they improve the speed so that it's better than the Avenger, then at least it has a spot. I think that's the key. Is it's positioned to be a smuggling ship, and it has, and like CIG is not subtle. What other ships that are famous for smuggling in science fiction, universes that are asymmetrical?
One that can do the Kessel run?
Don't get cocky, kid.
Yeah, I have a theory about the Intrepid, why its cockpit is off-centered, unlike the Ares.
Please.
Y'all think they may have intended for this to be like the Avenger, where you would get in it from the side? And that would have been one reason to push that to the side, was to add a ladder so you could get straight into the cockpit. But then something didn't work out.
What if they make other ships down the line that are like that, but bigger?
I could also see it being an issue of, like, they wanted to do it through the ladder, but then they were like, but what if you wanted to carry something inside of the ship? Then you'd have to go through the cargo bay, and that's just, I can. It seems like they've learned from their mistake from the Mercury, where it's like one entrance only, and that entrance is not fun for most people.
I wish it was still a proper entrance in the back, though, like a ladder at least. It's kind of weird to shove yourself in the cargo compartment.
Kind of like scramble up on top,
Yeah.
I really want to show you guys that screenshot of the MSR now, if I can find it. Here, have a look at this, Space. I don't know if you can bring this up, but I'll send
the one
to
that's
you.
how even the MSR, even though it's kind of got asymmetrical, it's still lined down the center.
No, like how disgustingly empty it is.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you.
It's on
the cross section.
It's just literally from the side, and I've got a shot of it from the back too. It's just as bad. But look, half the ship is empty. Like, and considering like how it's meant to have the vents go up and around and all that sort of stuff, it's like, why the hell didn't you do that?
I think the picture from the front and the back kind of makes it look a little bit more reasonable. But yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, it's an older design. And this goes back to the whole saying that, like, the longer they take to make your ship, the happier you will be, because your ship's just going to be better.
Exactly, man.
I think we were some of the few people that got excited when the Banner Man got delayed. I'm like, yes,
yeah.
Dude,
that would have had to go through a redesign again.
They showed the gameplay. They finally showed somewhat of merchant gameplay, and I'm so glad it's coming before those ships. The Kraken Perfect's here as well.
Yeah,
it's like the Endeavor. We always talk about hail the Endeavor as three members of this cast are all card carrying members of the cult of the Endeavor. We will convert all of you. Like the joke about how the Endeavor is going to take forever, but it's like because it's going to be the last ship that CIG releases.
It's the whole game.
It will be so good for, like, it'll be the best ship they've ever made, and it'll either be the best ship they ever made or it will destroy the game. Either way, it's like it is the finality of something. So having it as a ship is a good example of, like, the longer they take.
The one that will have all the different modules
like and stuff,
the greenhouses and stuff.
Yep, that's the one. Yep, we swear by it. So yeah.
So
did we tell you about the modularity stuff, Space? How John Crew explained it to me, like how it all works. They have to make them as individual ships.
Oh no!
So if you were to make the Carrack right now and they wanted to put it in the game right now, they'd have to do over 250 combinations of the ship.
The Carrack or the
Caterpillar. My bad. So yeah. Paul said this, so he knows where I'm going. So essentially, if you look at the Galaxy, because it's only got one module, you only need one copy of each ship, right? So you just need, like, the refinery, the hospital, and the cargo. If you were to make a new ship that didn't exist and it just had two modules, right? So let's say we have a cargo and we have a medical. You then have to make every version of that ship where the modules could possibly sit. So a cargo, a medical.
You have to
cargo, then a
factorial
medical,
them.
then a medical, then a cargo. So you have to make 4 versions. So
Like
even making even making the Carrack, it goes up to like 10 versions.
Mm.
It's bananas. So they're going to have to make a new system to build them, basically.
So, really, they got to make a new system. They've got to.
Well, that's why we don't see them, because they need to do that. Well, again, look at the Carrack rework they kind of just did recently with the doors open, but the pods don't come down, because again, making the pods come down would be extra work that they would have to redo later.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's just. I mean, I was making a joke of that because that's everything. Ever.
Yes.
Well, you need a new system.
I learned that about a lot of things. There's a lot of developers that don't have tools. I feel sorry for Elliot and his team. They don't have tools. They make do with what they got.
So you guys on the Intrepid, overall, you feeling like people have blown it up kind of a little out of proportion? You think that it's reasonable? Like CIG might need to go back and double check this ship and take another look at it?
I think definitely.
I will.
Oh, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
So my big thing is, I get the firepower, it's whatever, but I think it could really use another shield. But I think the big elephant in the room and the biggest thing on my mind was the price. And it was either be cheaper than the Titan or be DOA. And it was not cheaper than the Titan.
Hear me out here, because maybe this is weird. I've been kind of floating this around stream all day. Do you think that there is a different conversation to be had if we weren't considering value of the ships?
Yes,
or would they still be the same?
100%. I think we talked about this on the captain's table when you and Execute were on.
I think so.
I am a big proponent of standardization of all the starter packages. So like we know that the $45 packages will eventually be $60 at least, because that's what they're the kind of they said they will eventually sell it at. So I'm sure 1.0 it'll be $60. But then just take the standard starting packages or the advanced starting packages and make them all $80 or $90, just straight. Just $90 to pick your ship. And I think that would remove a lot of. I mean, there would still be people who are like, "What is the best value for your money?"
Yeah,
and all that stuff
thing.
like that. But at the same time, it'll be like it doesn't really matter because it's all the same price. You know. So as a result, it like the mentality is less of a pick the meta and more of a pick the thing you like, the thing that looks cool.
You don't think we'd run into the same problem? There were people who's just like, oh, just get the Avenger. It's the best you can get for $80.
They will, but I also think that like there'll also be changes that they'll be able to do, because if they're all at the same price, they can do like to make. I'll tell you right now, the thing that would make the Intrepid better than the Avenger is drop the Avenger's speed to 1400 or to like 1200 and increase. Just flop their speeds. So the Avenger goes slower than the Intrepid, and the Intrepid goes 1400. Hands down.
So it's a runner, like it's bigger brothers. Yeah, exactly.
Like
you want to see it a little faster.
Yeah, because all Crusader ships are fast. Like the only ones that are not fast are huge cargo, which is the like Genesis and the Hercules. Everything else is just zoom,
super fast.
Yeah. Hercules is very fast for his speed too, I think.
Can we ask Wookie and 5-Star the variant question? Because I think that might change their perspective on it a little bit. So knowing the Pisces came out, then the Pisces C8R, the Cutter came out, then the Scout and the Rambler came out. Does it change your thought at all, knowing that probably 12 months from now we may have a variant or two for the Intrepid? And I put that to Wookie first, and then 5-Star.
I like the Intrepid. Like there'll be a variant come out that's more expensive.
Well,
I do feel it's priced a little high. I was hoping before the price came out, in my mind, it should have been closer to the Cutter, because I'm trying to look at it from a new player perspective. Like if I've never seen Star Citizen, and I come in, and I see two ships real close in price, you know, I'll be looking at the Cutter and the Intrepid. Okay, these are very different ships, both entry level ships. Which one speaks to me more? You know, which personality do I like? Because that to me is what's the most important thing, is the ship's personality. Like DPS comes later. You know, that's a second thought for me. It's like, you know, for me, you know, I want something that's going to give me like Serenity and Firefly vibe. You know, I
think that's more common than people think.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what's important to me. And I think, you know, to a lot of people. So I do feel it needs to be. I would have liked to have seen a little cheaper. I would have liked to have seen specialty variants. You know, then maybe at the price that it currently is, something with maybe a bigger gun. But for an entry level, I think it is a little expensive, but like I said, if the other ones are going to come up eventually, I don't know. Maybe it's just a timing of pricing that's kind of making our perspectives odd
Can,
or skewed.
can I quick follow up question? What would you price it as?
Um, probably. I mean, since it's got a little bit more nicer stuff than the cutter, I like $5 or $10 more than the cutter.
So like
Okay, so, like-
75.
We're talking game package, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always, I always get that wrong. I'm always
I
thinking
will-
of the ship
Yeah.
itself.
I will say the thing is I think the ship is priced fine. It's $60. It's about $5 more dollars, $5-10 more dollars more expensive than the cutter. It's
And-
that's
Oh no, five.
$5. So it's like
Wait,
it's
isn't the cutter 45 standalone?
no.
I thought it was
the
a lot
Cutter is
more.
50.
I thought it went up to
No,
50 or 55. So it's either 10 or 5.
Oh, Jesus! Somebody
No,
told me it was
I'll check.
45. I was like,
Let me
that's an
look it up.
incredible
Let me look.
deal.
Let me
That
look
was
it
when
up.
it first came
It's on
out.
sale.
Yeah,
It's on
it's a
sale now.
$60 game package for the cutter.
Man, I
$60.
hate it
was
when
looking
people
at
quote you
that.
freaking sales numbers to make a point. God.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, like somebody who said the Intrepid should be 45. I was like, are there any ships with interiors like that are 45? And they said the cutter. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Let me look at it real
Cutter was
quickly.
45
With
percent.
with the package at 60. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like with these conversations, that's probably the most important price
Is
because
the-
that's
yeah.
that's
That's how most
But
people
that's
get
any
it.
person's gonna buy it. Yeah.
yeah.
So the cutter is $45 as a standalone ship, just the base cutter.
Okay.
Yep.
So
that's correct.
So I will say it is a little overpriced. I would put it down to like 55 rather than 45,
Yeah.
rather than 60.
People are saying cutter is 45.
Yeah, it is
It's
45.
talking
It's
about the
standalone ship.
Intrepid.
Yeah.
It's talking about the
Okay.
Intrepid.
Okay.
To drop the Intrepid to be $10 more. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a crazy good deal.
Yeah, I'd say like $45 for the cutter versus Intrepid, like standalone price.
Yeah, that's even still too high.
The cutter would win out.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You're just getting, I mean, for like, I know I keep talking about not talking about money, but $45 with that kind of functionality is amazing because that's the Aurora's price.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wait,
It looks
so
like a
what
No,
do you-
actually, the Aurora is 35.
Yeah, the
What do
Aurora's
you
cheaper.
value more though? Do you
Right.
value 4 SCU of cargo or 8 SCU of cargo? So you are giving up the vehicle carrying capacity
Mhm.
to double your cargo account. You got to look at it for different gameplays too. It's
Of
really
course,
hard.
that's
Putting
that's
on a
my
new player
argument.
is really hard to do for us, like
You,
that have been
you
here
can
for a while.
squeeze
Yeah.
12 SCU in the back of a cutter. If
Well,
you know.
Yeah, but the
Dead
other thing,
bodies don't count 5-star.
Okay, that's I think it's a bad call to rate ships based on how many boxes you can fit in, because
Yeah,
that's gonna have to change at some point.
That's not what I mean. I'm saying you have to try and look at the different gameplay because, like Scooter said, I said Scooter, Wicked Wookie. Sorry, it's gonna stick in my head. Sorry.
Either's fine.
As Wookie said, like different gameplays appeal to different people, and you kind of agreed with him. Like it's surprising how new people look at ships. Like they look at it, the feeling that it gives them and stuff. They don't look at it like you and I do, that hyper analyze everything. They just look at it and go, oh, that's cool, that appeals to me. Like as I said to you guys in the other shows, I had friends last year that picked up Saulians, and to me the Saulian looked like on paper like a pile of crap, but to them they loved it.
I love
And
the Saulian.
they all picked them up and jumped in for the first time, and they loved them.
so I was talking about ships. I will say the one thing that people always forget is that people buy on aesthetics. And
Oh yeah.
I will say, like, Wookie is a great example of this, is that I think Wookie probably sells more ships than he realizes just off of presentation. I know this because I did an entire lore thing on the Gladiator, which nobody cares about. And after I did an entire lore thing on the Gladiator, people who were Gladiator fans just crawled out of nowhere and were like, the Gladiator is awesome. And they used that video and started using it as a means to get more people interested in the Gladiator, which is the only reason why I was on the Best in Show, is because like people started getting interested in it. I'm like, why, how, what monster did I create out of that video? Because it's got cool lore, but that sort of things. People will go off of aesthetics. And I was going to say that I am, completely biased, Drake for life, but
Drake, baby.
but as someone who wants to like the Intrepid, it is just a little too pricey when you already have something like the Drake ships. And I think the issue is my same issue with like Wookiees, which is when I'm looking at this from a perspective of a new player, if I'm coming in trying to do my best work, my best analysis, the question is, why would I spend that money? Why would I spend $80? Like right now, you can get the Intrepid game package for like $60, which is good. Except you can also get the Cutter game package for like 50. So it's like, well, how would you literally the thing it's competing against is still cheaper and has the same sort of package with 10-year insurance. So it's like, hi,
So
how can I recommend you?
Do you guys think it'll perform better in the game, like when we're not doing dollars, when people are kind of looking for these ships in the game itself?
Yeah, there's something. The really big thing about the size 4 jump is that they've made it very clear, and they even mentioned this in the IAE show, is that at a certain point, certain size guns won't be able to damage certain levels of armor, right? So if you have like a size 3 or below, you just won't do anything. So having that size 4 in the Intrepid is actually probably more impactful than we realize at the moment.
Yeah, they made that change just to sell the Intrepid. They weren't planning on doing that originally. They were never going to have
no, it didn't just happen to fit the gun or anything, did it? No, yeah. That was definitely planned from the start to have a size 4 gun. You can tell from this. There's a shell around the outside of the gun.
But then why lower it? It's so weird that they would put it at a 30.
Probably load it for a variant. It's something we've been theorizing on.
Or they could have it could have easily been a situation where like they said, do we really want it to be size 4? Let's put it in a size 3, see what people think. And then they collectively everyone was like size 5. So they're like, okay, size 4. You know,
it just looks so like
Last question on this point, then we'll move on to the rest of the ships. Do you guys think that I think 2 of the things that seem like standout features for the Intrepid, but also seem like things that might get added in gold standard passes are the engineering terminal and the suit locker. Do you guys think other starter ships are going to get those?
Some. Like Wookie, I'll ask you this question. Do you honestly think that they're going to have like a suit locker for like the Alpha or the MR?
No, probably not, but it'd be cool.
It would be cool.
So that's the thing that I see the Intrepid as, and so I look at the Intrepid because I compare it to the Cutter, right? You're talking about which one might become popular in game. I think the Intrepid will have like everybody likes the Cutter. I think I would meet rarely somebody who doesn't like it. The Cutter. I think the Intrepid is going to be like the Pontiac Fiero. It's not well received at first, but then it develops a cult following.
I think a lot of people think it's a spirit ship, but it's not. It's actually based on the Ares. That's why the lines are a bit weird too.
Listen, it is the discount Crusader ship. It is the child of all of the different Crusader ships, sold at a Dollar General. Okay, that's what it is.
Really fun with the ballistic Gatling. It's like a Inferno.
10% off, Scooter. How much?
I really like the interior on that ship.
Off. Everything's.
I think it is a fantastic interior.
Interior is top notch. I think people who, if I was going to recommend Star Citizen to somebody who likes to do engineering and they've never played Star Citizen, I would recommend that ship to them because I think that would be the ship to learn engineering in.
And that's a really good point.
Yeah,
I like that.
Just so they can stand at the terminal and not do anything.
They can stand at the terminal, they can have their spare parts in the cargo bay. You know,
and that also it gives you a different like you will have readouts for your ship that you can't get if you don't have an engineering display. Like you'll be able to see and probably do more with your tuning, with your power management and stuff with an engineering display than you will with just the power screen on your MFD.
Sorry, just hit me. Out of gas. It's a classic episode of Firefly where they run out of gas in the middle of a part breaks and they're out in the middle of nowhere and they have to figure out what to do. That's what this is. It's like what happens if your ship breaks down in the middle of space and you're Aurora. What happens if your ship breaks down in the middle of space and you're Intrepid? Well, you can get out of your seat, go back to the engineering base, see what's broken, fix that problem, tune it up, get things working, get yourself back on the road. So it's much more of a, I think that's the direction they were going for. Everything's inside. It's kind of like the difference between, you can buy like a Honda Civic, and a Honda Civic will get you where to go from where here to there, but it's designed in a computer, and all the parts are super tight. So if you want to try to repair it yourself, you're going to have to disassemble half the car just to get into it. Versus a ship or a vehicle like like an old GM truck, which is built with enough space where you could park a baby inside of that thing and it wouldn't even touch any of the parts. So it's a lot easier to maintenance and figure out. And that actually fits with the lore of Crusader. That's the sort of thing they do. So
it's definitely the first ship, in my opinion, that nailed what they originally wanted to do with the Mustang. I think,
Mustang Beta, the
Beta?
Mustang.
Beta, yeah, the van. It
Yeah,
feels
the
like
Mustang.
it feels like an RV. It feels like a home in a very compact size. And I know it's not super compact, but even like the 300 series, which is similar size, is like just an extended room. Whereas this feels like it has a little bit more of a homey feel to it with actual doors and corridors and stuff. So I'm a fan of it. Obviously, the price is too high for a lot of people. I think this will be very interesting to see in the game when dollars aren't as important in playing.
Just a little more. Just a little more speed, CIG. That's all. Just make it a little faster. Make it a little faster, and everything's fine. I will be an evangelist for it if it's just a little faster.
I do think the engineering terminals is just another thing they can use to separate them out a bit more too, because I still think you're going to get starter ships where you got to go outside and fix them, but then others that, like Paul said, that you can fix on the inside is going to be a huge boon.
Agreed. All right. The big for anybody who's watching this later, obviously this isn't true, but for us today here in the past, the big star of the day, actually I guess was yesterday, was the Guardian, or the lack thereof. What do you guys think's going on with that ship? Everybody was expecting it to be shown off in Alien Day during IAE, and then it didn't come out, and now somebody burned a house down the street, man. People are mad.
I wasn't. I've been saying for ages it's the 4.0 patch ship. And in the advertising, it said that as well, coming for Spectrum 4.0 update. Like it pretty much sold it for me, that it's coming whenever 4.0 drops, hopefully in December, much like the Mole and the Santoki Eye.
Do you want to do your the conspiracy theory thing that we came up with?
I have one as well. I'll go after.
Which one?
You want me to do it? Because we want about the ships.
Like wrap my head in.
I need some foil.
Okay. Let me go for it. So the conspiracy theory that Execute kind of brought up that I kind of subscribe to is that CIG has a lot more ships done than you realize. They probably have like of those silhouettes, they probably have at least a few of those in near complete status, if not complete. They're just not going to release it during IAE because they don't want to crowd the sales. So they're holding on the ships until they have a patch, and then they'll trickle out these releases based off of patches, so they don't have these sales step on each other's toes. So that's the reason why the Guardian wasn't released, was because it would have stepped on the toes of the Star Lancer. So just
well, again, they've never really sold more than 3 ships or 3 new things at a sale, and we've got way more than that. So I think they're trying to go back to the old credence of 1 ship per month or every couple of months. Like, do you remember when we had Concept Space and they were like every month there was a new ship?
Just 2017, 2018, just every constant concepts.
But how would you feel if that flipped from being concepts to flight ready once a month?
I mean, it'd be pretty cool.
That'd
be pretty sick. Freaking back then, that was like, people talk about being unhappy about ship sales right now. I there's plenty of things to say about it, but gosh, it was so much worse back then, when it was just like anytime anything was introduced, it was just a picture. That was when the JPEG joke was like, that's when it really formed. But yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said about releasing too much at once and how it can step on the toes and excitement of others. There was some pretty big tells. I didn't even catch them really at CitizenCon, when they were like, yeah, we're going to deliver the... God, what did they said the Intrepid, the Guardian, and...
The medical Terrapin. How the hell could you forget that one? Oh,
wait, was it the medical Terrapin?
Yeah.
From last year's?
Medical Terrapin will be coming on Anvil Day.
Mm-hmm. No.
So you mean they announced it last CitizenCon, not this CitizenCon?
He's talking about the silhouettes.
Yeah, the silhouettes. 3 silhouettes from last CitizenCon that are coming right now. The Intrepid, the Guardian, and the Polaris. The Polaris. That was it. So they said they were like, oh, we're going to deliver all these by the end of the year, they said. And then they brought up the video at CitizenCon, and they were like, and here is a video previewing the IAE ships. And they only showed us the Polaris, the Intrepid, and the Terrapin. They would have showed the Guardian probably if it was going to be there.
Yeah.
So it's pretty clear that it's going to be a 4.0, and that makes sense.
Yep.
So I have another theory about the Guardian. Basically, I do think it's going to be a 4.0 ship, but and full credit to Croncy and Salty Mike for mentioning this, but I kind of agree. I think the Guardian is going to be a reward for doing things in Pyro. Specifically, not like, obviously they're still going to sell it, of course. But
Dang, I want some of that. I want to snort on that.
I want like.
Can I have what he's smoking? I want what he's smoking.
So okay,
Wow.
there's a reason I say this.
Guns.
There's a rhyme to my reason.
I know I get it, but at the same time, this is the first time I'm like, am I getting my hopium from Mike?
Yeah.
What world am I living in where Mike is giving me is feeding me hopium? What the hell?
So okay, really quickly, I'm gonna say if anyone who's viewing, if you don't want any like 4.0 spoilers or anything, I'm gonna say something really quick. Right?
Yeah, go for it.
Give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Should I step away?
If you want to. A couple of guys, they did the whole contested zone rigmarole. They got all the keys and everything, you know, like it's Tarkov, and they got to the final boss room, whatever. And when they got there, the reward, it was a big hangar, and the reward is a ship. You call up the hangar and boom, you get a ship, and the ship is it's in your hangar, like attributed to your ASOP, and you keep it. So it was an Avenger Titan, and the devs basically said that's placeholder. So now I got my mind going like, damn, what would they put there that's that valuable, you know?
Do you want me to tell you what it is?
No, I think I actually might know what it is. There are 2 variants of the Guardian.
Oh, you're right. This is true. Also, I was thinking like it could be, you know, higher tier ships when all that comes in, you know?
F8.
Yeah, like
I'm thinking,
tier 5.
I'm
Yeah,
thinking
like how-
Remember they gave away the special F8 variant, the skin? What if it's just a skin for another ship? So a ship, like again, you said Avenger Titan, but what if it's the Avenger Pyro and it's just a skin?
Could be.
Just saying. I just picked that one randomly. It could be any ship. Obviously.
I don't know. Do we really think that they would just like give people access to? Well, access they would do. Give people a ship though to their in-game account, a new ship.
To be fair, doing all that looks extremely hard. I'm not gonna lie.
So basically, to give you context, I saw Zero and Burks do the contested zones, and when they got there, it was like they were doing it alone on their own, and they barely made it in. And when they got there, it bugged out at the end, and a lot of it was other issues. So there's still going to be bugs and other issues, and you also got to remember that with this is wave 1 with just those 2 doing it. This is everyone can do it. So like if the answer is you get a Guardian, every org is going to be running that because it's only one place. So you're going to go to the contested zone in one place, and every org is going to be doing it, and you have to fight the NPCs and the players. And it only unlocks at certain times, so it's going to be it's going to be the F8. It's going to
be crazy.
It's the F8 sort of thing.
They're not contested zones; they're clustered zones. What are you talking about?
There's definitely something to be said about. There's just not enough content coming in these updates right now. So when they do one special thing in an update, every single person's going to do it. It's not like they're going to drop a couple things here and a couple things over there and a couple things there, and everybody's going in different directions. If they say you're getting a ship for doing the contested zones, everybody's doing contested zones.
Yeah.
And the PvP is spicy. It's been pretty good.
Really? I've been in there 3 times now, and I've still, I guess, accidentally had some PvP, but for the most part, it's been really fun PvE for me.
Did you do the one in Ruin Station?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was never there without people.
and this is also wave 1.
One time.
Yeah. There's not that
I
many
just stick
people
my
yet.
hand in a toilet.
Oh, nice. It's a good
It
time.
was like search the toilet. I didn't think he was actually going to do it. He stuck his hand in a toilet.
Had a couple weekends like that. I get it. So everybody kind of in the same agreement that Guardian is probably like a December ship.
Oh, 100%. We already know it's a 4.0.
Yeah, probably.
Unless 4.0 goes beyond December.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, they always try and get something out before Christmas type of thing. Holidays.
Whether we
When
like it
do
or
they
not.
take their hiatus? Is it
The
January or-
week they take it the week before Christmas. So like the last week before Christmas ends, I believe on December 20th.
The latest was the earliest to the latest. I've checked the dates a while ago, like a year or 2 ago. It was the 18th to the 24th. It's somewhere in there usually.
Mm-hmm. So
I think,
and then they'll come back on like probably the 6th.
I think it was either 3.12 or 3.10. They dropped a patch, I think December 10th or the 12th.
Yeah.
And then they put in a hot fix patch right after that on like December 22nd, I think. And I'm thinking that's what they're going to try and do here. I hope that's what they try and do here.
Have you
'Cause-
you were in 4.0 just before? Did you notice all the lighting changes?
Like in the hotfix today?
Mm.
Not really. I didn't get to do too much.
They've got lots of specular little bugs where the lighting has gone up. They've redone all the lighting. It's quite obvious. Look for the mistakes.
Man,
You'll see it
I'm
on
flying
shiny
around.
reflections and stuff. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Holy crap. This is the
Yeah.
second system. Like, we're not even into the beautiful. It's freaking pyro. It's like abandoned and fiery and terrible. Weird Goss system.
Do you want me to make it even worse?
Oso. Yes, make it worse.
Okay. They haven't even started doing Genesis.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. The
It's
density.
gonna get even better.
The GPU rendering, the density, the weather.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like the global illumination. Like, people keep telling you that these graphics are going to fall behind, but they've got a lot of tricks they can use.
Have you noticed the clouds moving at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's freaky the first time it happens. You're like,
Is it moving? Yeah.
And then the shadows under them moving too. It's like, damn.
Yeah, dude, it's wild. It's good to see.
Yeah.
Now, can the rest of the game do that, please?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the rest of IAE. What a lot of people who are probably listening to this podcast already know about, but we're just going to go into it like a bunch of clueless folks anyways, and you guys can correct us, yell at your screens and your earphones. The Paladin. People are expecting a new anvil ship. Discuss.
do you want to know where I'm up to or not?
Let me cook.
This is a daily thing for me.
Let me cook.
You go first.
Let me cook. Let me cook.
Yeah.
Let me cook. All right. So Execute had a dream, and I have now made it my entire crazy belief system. So
It's good. It's always good when it goes like that.
okay, so the Paladin, as far as we know, is some sort of gunship. Probably some sort of competitor to the Redeemer, or possibly something like around somewhere between the Redeemer and the Perseus. Some Carrack sized. So it's in that.
No, I don't think it's that size anymore. Oh, you keep going. I'll tell you mine when you're done.
It's probably going to be bigger because it has to be something better than the Valkyrie. Like the Valkyrie, it has to be something that's better than the Valkyrie.
Funny you mentioned Valkyrie because that's what I think it is.
And I think what is it's going to be is that it's going to be an improved Valkyrie. And what X had a dream about being in a Titan suit and closing his hands, and then he woke up, and so he was like, maybe it's a Titan Titan ship, and I'm like,
Oh, dude.
Yes. This is what I am going to choose to believe this until CIG ruins my dreams.
You have converted me officially.
It's a dedicated mech dropship. And the only thing that would make it better is if it's not a mech dropship, but if it's like it drops drop pods out of it. If it was a drop pod ship, if it was a Helldiver ship, I would also then be immediately okay with it. Either way, CIG can feed me these two things, and I will buy the whole stock.
All right.
That's just gonna say.
Okay. I'm gonna climb this peak. I'm gonna join you up on top of this ridge of hopium and have a little fun with it. Yeah. How about if it was supposed to drop down the suits, it dropped them like, I think I said this on Captain's Table the other day, or Inforunners maybe. It works like the ships from Edge of Tomorrow, where the bottom falls out and then you can fall in from your mech. That would be sick. Okay, hopium off. That sounds crazy, dude.
Love that movie.
So do you want to? Because I daily have been going backwards and forwards with multiple people on this, and it's getting refined and refined. But basically, from the second image that was leaked in that episode, so they have one of the two paladins flying, and then the image straight after that is like it's the same ship but from behind. So what we think it is an onboarding task, which was the Valkyrie, and obviously Anvil's a military ship. How do you take a drop ship and modify it, right? So essentially it's already a drop ship that transported troops and small vehicles. And how many times have you heard someone say, geez, this would be cool if I could put a large vehicle in this? So what we have come to is we think it might still do Titan suits, but it's a vehicle dropship version that flies in. And if you think of how a paladin with a shield, like the name, it comes in and lands, the vehicle can get off or on, like it protects it, and that's why it's got all the guns in it, so it can shoot the enemy and all that stuff, and then it flies off again.
Yeah, I do think that it has been in production for at least a little bit, because when they said, oh, the Storm is a light tank, it's a scout tank, and everyone's like, but it can't fit on the Valkyrie. I think at that point they said, oh, we probably need a ship that can carry our light tank. Or they said, yeah, duh, it's a light tank. It fits on the Paladin, but they can't say that because we didn't know that the Paladin was in production. One of the two.
Well,
They could have
the
said
other
it if
thing
they wanted.
is Anvil. You know the Anvil Spartan thing in the blue, the Anvil Atlas platform, the build thing from CitizenCon that we all think's in the blue silhouette video. How do you carry that as well? Because it's 1.5 large vehicles long. So you can put it on the Hercules, but there's a lot of empty space. So
What?
wouldn't Anvil have their own ship to carry that?
Yeah, they got the Liberator.
Yeah, but
That's not a combat ship.
that's also got 2 ships on it
Isn't
and
it?
3 vehicles.
The Liberator's not
Yeah.
called a combat ship. It's called a civilian transport ship. Is what it's described.
Of course it is, but
Yeah.
half of the marketing pictures have them in war zones.
That's because CIG is. That's because CIG
Literally.
Because CIG's awful at this. They always do that. I mean, remember remember Aegis, where like they were selling the Retaliator while it's firing torpedoes, and nothing on
we
that
talked
list
about
had
Yeah.
anything about mentioning.
But I've been living under this lie that the Liberator is a military ship because these pictures, like the first picture that pops up, it's literally this thing with a gigantic tank rolling off of it
Yeah.
with these huge combat
Guns
ships in the
firing.
back. Like, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at that. Doesn't even freaking. I'm gonna pop this up on. Look at
Yeah.
what is that? Who
Yeah, so-
advertises a civilian ship like this?
It's the guns firing and stuff like that. They're treating
There's
it like a
freaking soldiers out here.
Hercules. And
Scooter would advertise that way.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, it's a drop ship.
you can drop
He's out
with
there.
it.
Look at this.
It's also a pub and a hospital, according to Scooter, but yeah.
Okay, so then you could say this is like a combat focused mini Liberator kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
I think Execute's probably on the money where they just pull out the troop transport bay and make it so, or maybe extend it out a little bit and then make it like a vehicle transport. So just a Valkyrie, like a long Valkyrie that transports vehicles and has lots of guns.
If I send you
Okay.
one image, can you bring it up? Because I think that'll show very clearly what I'm not that one.
Is it the image I seen that it looks like somebody paused the VCR in 1985? And took
Yeah,
a-
that's the one.
They're trying to get
That's
they're trying to get
that's the exact
Cinemax in 1992. You know,
So what do you guys think in terms of pricing on this?
What's the-
over
what's
over
That's
the
the
Redeemer?
first thing anybody wants to talk about.
330 for the Redeemer.
So 400. I'd say 400.
It's hard for me to
Yeah.
guess without knowing what it
Are
does.
we guessing
The-
flight
the
ready or
Valkyrie is-
concept price?
Valkyrie's-
Concept price. Concept.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it'll
the
be concept.
Concept.
Sorry, the Valkyrie is 375. I think that's relevant as well.
400.
Can you bring that image up, please, Space? I'm not saying I'm right here, and but I want you to look at it, and because I think that's what it is. I could be completely wrong, but I can't unsee it. So when he gets it,
Yeah, I mean, I think I would guess around the 450 mark.
I thought I was
Chris-
bringing the copium to the party, but Astro drop
Yeah.
ship for Titan suits.
so I think that's a Nova tank that I've circled in that image.
It looks like a Tet Nova. It has a sort of silhouette to it.
You got to remember there's lots of wiggleness because they put the TV effect on all the stuff, so it doesn't look normal. But and I also think the tail is essentially like the tail you see on those water bombing helicopters. So it's all stripped out, all the weight stripped out, so it can carry more weight.
Tail
Oh,
looks
so
a little
you're saying it's like a
terrapin a
Nomad.
little bit.
So you're saying it's like a Nomad where it's like a flatbed open back where you can
No,
keep arrows up.
more like the Sky Crane helicopter in real life.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
those
yeah.
orange ones that are just the cab at the front.
The
And then
Chinook.
they've got a lot. No, not the Chinook. I've got a picture of it. I'll send it to you, Paul.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. There's a special one that has the center cut out where it just lifts and
No,
drops
no,
stuff
no,
like
no.
that. I think it's called the
No, no, no,
Skyhook.
No. They call it the Sky Crane. It's this one. Hang on, I'll send it to you. That one.
Well-
The Skorsky S64. Yeah, I know what you're talking
It's an orange thing.
Well, the Paladin should be an interesting bit of conversation for people, but I've seen this popped up a lot in chat today, and I think a lot of people will be talking about this over the course of the next month or two.
I do know
decide if I wanna-
CIG is very excited about Anvil Day for this
Okay.
ship. I've talked to a couple of devs, and they're super excited about it. So we'll see how
trying
it
to
goes.
decide if I want to jump into that topic right now or if I'd rather talk. Yeah, let's talk about that. So the Anvil Paladin is probably going to be the last thing that they sell for this IAE, And many people are looking at IAE earnings and clearly comparing it to previous years. Last year, November seems to be falling fairly short. The year prior, I think, also, it's looking like it's falling fairly short. We opened up this conversation talking about if things felt different. Are the alarm bells spinning? Is it going? It's all going down. November is a poor month and everything is headed down, or is this an anomalous November? Do you think it has to do with the whole year? What do you guys think?
I think the game's got to sell itself, man. And right now, it's not, and it's kind of showing it in the prices. I think this will change after 4.0 launch. I think 4.0 is the new 318 in terms of like massive rush of people coming in, and they gotta nail it. They gotta nail it. But yeah, I think that could fix things a lot for them.
That is 100% my. I've said for many years, or not many years. I've said for many years. I've been saying for a couple months now that the thing that sells the game is the game. CIG releases when CIG releases patches. That's when funding goes up.
Yep.
Not when they do sales, but they do patches. And if they manage to do a patch right before a sale, then a new patch right before the sale, then that sale kind of takes the uptick that they get and then just yeets it straight up.
That's why you're getting the event and the free flight at the same time.
So how different would this IAE have been if 4.0 came out like before CitizenCon?
They would be breaking records.
Huge.
Breaking records. There's just no doubt about it that's how it would have worked.
And that was definitely the plan, like you said. Like
it was the plan. It's very obvious.
I do think that 4.0, when 4.0 releases, how it releases will determine, because we know it's going to come out this year, whether it's good, bad, great, terrible, doesn't matter. It's coming out before the end of the year because CIG just needs to ship it. Yeah. And so how that releases is going to be a huge determination of how well it'll end. I still think that they're on pace. I just looked at some of the numbers, and they're still doing a little bit better pace in some days than 2022, but not as good as 2023. I think if 4.0 releases in a decent state, not even perfect state, I think that will get enough people to get interested to come in and play it, which will then cause an increase in activity, which will cause an increase of purchasing because people will have fresh cash from the holidays, and they will that'll spike the sales enough so that it'll go over 2022. But I don't think it'll be 2023. Now, do I think it's the end of the world if they don't break 2023? No,
I don't know.
I don't think so.
2023 might have been the anomaly year, to be honest.
It was, because the actual number of signups was lower in 2023 than in 2022. There were less people signing up for the game in 2023, and I think the reason why was because they had what was his name?
Audience.
Well, no, there was a big streamer, like a huge streamer, like one of the top streamers of Twitch. It wasn't Lyric. It was Summit.
Summit, yeah.
Summit coming on and playing Star Citizen for a month meant that more people were engaged with it, which then dragged more content creators into it and reminded people that it existed. And so a lot of people who had been waiting for Star Citizen said, oh, right, this is a game now, and started picking up and buying more content. Because 2022, they had a huge increase of new players, massive increase of new players.
Summit did a great job making the game look fun.
And I think what Summit did was more of bringing in old backers rather than new backers.
I think CitizenCon did that too.
Yeah.
Kind of got people excited again, older people.
I think it's just a matter of CIG has to capitalize on momentum, and they squander it every year. They squander it.
So can I talk about one more thing that I think we haven't talked about? And I think they possibly have one more trump card. And what that is, and you're probably going to hate this when I say this, I did state by saying there are 3 ships usually for sale at CitizenCon that aren't just a release, right? So I actually think there is one thing missing, and that is a large concept ship. Think Galaxy, Arastra.
That's what the
Paladin, no?
The Paladin.
Yeah.
I don't think the Paladin's that big. Technically speaking, if it's Redeemer size or Valkyrie size, that falls under a medium ship pad. It's a size smaller than the Galaxy, for example.
Yeah, we'll see.
I could be wrong, and maybe this year we only get to a medium. But I feel there's no concept that thing will be straight to fireball pretty much. Hopefully, I could be wrong, but again, we've got pictures of it, so I could be wrong. We'll see.
Going back to what you were saying, Paul, about the game doing better in 5-star, you were getting at this too, kind of the game showing itself, and that is what earns it its momentum. Do you think that whenever this game gets to a point where it's stable, a lot of people would say the game right now is good, just make it stable and I'm happy. If it gets to that point where it's running stably, let's just be crazy and say with maximum copium in our hearts, March of next year. It's running well, it's good to go. Will it be that kind of same situation that we had with Summit playing and where it's always on people's minds because it's always able to be watched and looked at and learned about? Or do you think it'll still kind of be this up and down sort of thing we're dealing with, where it's the big events, or maybe if big streamers try it, or maybe if something significant happens, the general industry starts to hear more about it?
Yeah, I think the game being good will help the game spread, right? Because think about it, a lot of us, we're probably not super comfortable telling all of our friends, hey, come check out this game. I know I'm not all the time. I'm very like coy, like, hey, maybe if you want to, I'll let them come to me. But I'm not yet comfortable telling my more normie friends to check the game out because, in my opinion, it's not ready. But if the game is to a point where I feel comfortable telling people that, then it's without a doubt it's going to exponentially grow.
I gave a buddy. Yeah.
Wait, Wiki, I didn't
Or
catch
you're
you
a little
there.
quiet.
Oh, so I gave my buddy my old computer so he could play Star Citizen.
Wow.
Oh,
Does
this
he
is
still play?
awesome, man. It's like Call of Duty, but space. Oh, yeah, he plays.
100% off.
Anybody else on that think that it'll actually end up being like a real game in terms of its reception, or still up and down?
I don't think we'll get that reception until Squadron's out. I tend to show people trailers of Squadron and updates of Squadron, like the trailer that came at CitizenCon, and that's all I tend to do because I just don't think the game's got enough gameplay.
I would say that I agree with that. Squadron's going to make a huge impact on Star Citizen. Squadrons will. And I follow, I mean, I guess a lot of people do. I follow IGN, and after 42 trailer, I seen IGN post it. There's like millions of views on it. So that got a lot of eyes.
How weird was that comment section? All positive from IGN. I'm like, what is wrong with these people?
That was crazy.
They were positive for a change. I'm like, what's going on?
I'm going to give the reason why, and I've been saying this a lot, which is the reason why it did well is because it's nothing to do with Star Citizen. There's no Star Citizen Squadron 42. It's just Squadron 42. So nobody had the negative association of Star Citizen with it. All they did was saw Gary Oldman, Mark Strong, Gillian Anderson,
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill was everyone was loving that.
And Mark Hamill. They saw those names and they saw the gameplay and they're like, this cast is amazing. They're all bringing their A game. This game looks great. I want this game. Let's talk about this game. When's it coming out? And that's what it was. It's just a matter of perception. And when people thought it was like, because I even saw one of the top comments was, I can't believe Star Citizen is getting this positive, this positivity. And the one comment under that one was, because this isn't Star Citizen. And everyone was responding to them like, yeah, it is, dude. This is the single player game for Star Citizen. And it was like, oh, people just don't know.
Yeah.
So
I think that's going to you'll have people like when the game comes out, and I hope that it comes out with minimum bugs. I think they'll try real hard because they've seen what happens to other games when they fail at launch. I think they're going to be really diligent and careful about making sure it's like in the best quality it can be. That's why they're taking more time. They don't want it to fail on launch. That's the worst thing that could happen. So it launches. It's good. Then once those people play through, who's never played Star Citizen before, or played Star Citizen before, they played Squadron. They're going to want more. So then that's when they'll come into the verse. I think.
Does anyone know if Asmund Gold actually watched the trailer this year like he did last year? Because I was obviously out and about, so I don't know.
No, he didn't. At least not that I saw. He saw everything last year and was really into it. And he watched one of Space Tomatoes, his server meshing video, which was really cool. But I haven't heard anything from him this year.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we could get him to watch the trailer from this year.
He has some stuff going on around that time.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, he did.
Let's talk about, this is the topic that I was really wanting to get to, the ship backlog. This is a big topic for a lot of people. There have been some big statements made about the ship backlog, how long it would take to get through it. There have been a lot of emotions about how it's being attacked and whether or not it's being actually worked on as opposed to concepts. From what I'm seeing from different sources, I haven't verified this myself, but some 81% of ships that have been proposed so far have been released. However, a large number of those ships are out of date. So how are you guys feeling about the backlog, that conversation, compared to, let's say, last year or 2 years ago? It feels like that conversation comes up every IAE because they're introducing new ships. Do you feel like they are doing a good job of starting to handle that backlog? Could they do more? Why do you think they aren't?
I can answer this really quickly if you want, or I can make it real. I'll let you guys all talk. It's up to you. Because I actually have more information from my chats with the developers, but it's up to you. It's entirely up to you, Space, how you want it answered.
I want to hear what everybody has to say. What you guys all think.
Right, I'll let them go all first, and I'll go last.
The one thing I will say right off the bat is the thing that it's important to note is that Star Citizen is developing, or Star Citizen when the video you're alluding to was created was like 2 years ago, right? The one that was talking about the backlog and how long it would take. When that napkin was done, that napkin math was done, there were 24 people working for CIG's ship development team. There are 52 now. They have doubled in size, and so they have doubled in size since that video was done, and a lot of those are brand new hires, and they have drastically increased the amount of ships they're producing. And the thing is that these are not just new hires; these are all people who have done 1, 2, 3 ships under their belt now. So they're going to start tackling that backlog, and we can see that from the silhouette. They are very ambitious, doing things like it looks like they're doing the Perseus and the Ironclad the same year. Those are both large ships, not capitals, but it's still like that's a lot of content. There's a lot of stuff.
And they just announced the Ironclad too.
Not according to John Crew. According to John Crew, the Ironclad's a Corvette.
Well, yeah, I mean, but still, like it's
semantics.
It's just one of those things where the sizes of the ships, or the amount of the numbers of the ships, it seems like it's increasing, and with them, these teams no longer being in the backlog or no longer being new, so they don't have to be onboarding and do other new things. They can start tackling the backlog. I think we're going to start seeing a dramatic increase in productivity from them. I also think it's going to be the situation like the Polaris. They're going to get it to minimum viable standard. It's not going to be fully finished, but you can play it. They'll kick it out and fix it later, because that's the method they've been doing. Like ship, like the Carrack had the same thing. It'll be whatever is not absolutely like the what is it, the like prison on the Ironclad. That's not going to be functional. It just won't be functional when it's released. They'll just be like, you'll be locked off and you can't get access to it at all. And they're like, we'll fix it later. It's not important.
Especially be a cargo ship with tractor beams, won't it?
Yeah,
that'll be it. Yeah.
So the fab won't work. Something like that. So it will be. They will be able to tackle this backlog much faster. But it's not going to be exactly what you want. It's going to be minimum viable. Can you get in and do the gameplay you're supposed to do with it? Cool, we're done. And tackle it when they have more time.
You think that they're in a good place with it, though?
Yeah, I think they're in a better place now than they have been in years. And I think that's going. And you can, from what I've heard from the ship teams and from X talking with people and seeing all of those things, they seem to be in a much higher spirits as a ship team than they have been since Paul Jones left. So,
okay,
yeah,
Wookie, 5-star.
No, you go ahead, Wookie.
The fact that the fact that we've seen the Carrack, its cargo now opening and getting the blast shield, I think that's a very, very good sign. Then also now this Paladin in its VHS screenshot we've seen, that does look a lot like a Valkyrie. So if they're doing a refit for the Valkyrie and the Carracks getting operational, having the doors open and its blast shield, that's gonna put the community in a better standing with them doing those. I think they're going in the right way, especially if that. It'd be really smart to do those to get those up to a better spot.
It's nice to see, even if those changes aren't very much liked. It's nice to see regular updates coming to older ships. I think we've seen, clearly, like you said, Wookie, they're using opportunities working on new ships to gold standard old ships. We saw that with the Raven and the Saber earlier this year. We saw it with the Terrapin just now. They're going back and making the original Terrapin better. They fixed the original Saber. They made the Saber Raven gold standard. So I think they'll keep doing that kind of stuff, and it's good to see that work with the old ships. Do you think that they could still speed that up, though? This is just a lot of complaints with old ships with little things, the inventory not working, cargo not working, doors or stuff like that. Do you think they're at a good pace?
I think they're, at least, I don't know. I haven't actually looked, but from the way it feels and the amount of ships that are coming out, I feel like they're getting faster. Not, maybe not doubling, each year, but they definitely feel like they're getting more momentum up.
Okay.
Does it feel like they're slowing down to y'all or about the same?
No, definitely not slowing down.
They keep announcing more stuff too.
Just making sure it ain't just me, man.
No, yeah, you're good.
They're rolling out quick. And like Paul said, they've doubled their team size, and now they're each ship they make, now they're even more skilled, even faster. They have these tools. And the Mist was a surprise, right? And that's one thing I want to ask y'all. How long do you think they were working on the the Starlancer Max? How long do you think they were working on that?
I can answer that. Every ship takes 18 months from the start to finish. They have an 18-month timeline on everything. Yeah. That's how when John Crew talked about the Corvette coming, he knew because it was already in production for 6 months.
Okay.
And then it got announced at Invictus, or it had been in production for a year, and then it came out in Invictus. So he already knew it was being worked on.
18 months. See, that I always felt like the Starlancer was made specifically to squeeze itself into that building role.
Yeah, it was.
Well, if you think about it, they would have known about the Starlancer build because it would have been started at the Invictus before last year's CitizenCon.
Yeah, didn't know it was going to be using drones, though.
Choice. Yeah. At some point, they made the choice to switch from the Galaxy to the BLD.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just very curious when that was made.
The other thing is manufacturing doesn't just include buildings; it also includes building ships. I think they just put it in there to show that they'll be different sizes, but they've obviously realized now in that presentation they've stuffed up, so now they have to make it build buildings. I think the plan was to make it build something else like ships or vehicles.
That would make sense. That would probably do both, more than likely.
Again, you've got a little place to pop the ships out in the little hangar bay, and that both the other variants had so the cargo and the medical both had elevators. So again, if you gave an elevator to that module, it could drop the vehicles on the ground or pop the ships out the back. I actually would prefer. I would prefer it to build ships and vehicles personally.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up because and you Astro, you brought up the Ironclad. One of the things that really kind of like got me with the whole backlog thing was the fact that the Ironclad was coming, because it was just announced last year, and for that to be coming out when we have so much backlog stuff, I thought was a little weird.
But do you know why?
I'm sure there's a lot of reasons. Such as
it starts with K and ends with Racken.
That's true. They said they're building bigger Drake stuff.
Kaleidoscope Racken.
Yeah, that's it exactly.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to say the backlog is fat and the backlog is frustrating. I only own 2 big ships, one of which is the Banu Merchantman, which was gifted to me, and the other one is the Galaxy, which I got, after last year's SitCon. Those are 2 very tragic ships to have pledged right now. So anytime I see something like the Polaris coming into the game that doesn't really do anything besides combat, I kind of just look at it and I shrug and I'm like, that's cool. But I'm just watching that backlog. And the Polaris is so much fun. I've been having a great time running around on other people's. But the thing that gets me most excited is like not necessarily industry ships, but any ship that brings something new to the game. Like when the Legionnaire drops, that's going to be awesome.
Oh my god!
And anything that moves the game forward significantly.
Wait, did Wookie call it a cargo ship?
Oh yeah,
it's a cargo ship.
The Polaris is
really
a cargo
good for cargo.
I'm working on a video for it, but it holds 576 SKU of cargo. Same as a Drake Caterpillar.
It's cargo. It's forever.
You
cargo.
can also
you've wrapped that in my brain. It is cargo and
cargo.
All right. Yeah.
It's cargo.
I changed my previous answer. I don't want what 5-star smoking. I want what Wookie's smoking.
It's actually a pretty cool game plan to have like a couple of cargo ships maybe in the top, like a couple hull A's in the hangar for the Polaris, and then use that as like your major transport from one star system to another, and the hull A's just fly to different space stations and outposts delivering boxes.
That was something I was noticing about. Well, I did notice about the Hull C. Is it's pretty useful now when you consider that we have freight elevators. You can do multiple trips from a city to the station, drop the cargo off, then do that big interstellar trip with the Hull C to another station, and then send everything back down.
Yeah.
Via another ship.
All right.
So
Do you want me to tell you about what I
well,
learned or not?
I was going to ask 5Star's final opinion on
Go for
like
it.
the backlog and how it's going, because it sounds like you feel like they could be doing more old stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm very frustrated with the backlog, but me talking about it would be nothing new. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm just salty. That's
Cool.
So
Execute.
They don't
Educate.
sit there and go, there are heaps of people that have this ship. We won't do that one. That's not how they do it. It was.
Are you serious?
I'm pretty sure everyone has figured this out anyway, but I know Paul did, I know you did, Space, and I'm pretty sure most people know this. But we've been seeing ships come out with their gameplay. Right, that's something we know that they wanted to move towards, right? And they pretty much confirmed that it comes down from design. They need it. So John Crew and Ben Curtis and all those guys, they don't pick what ships they make. A design comes down and they build a ship for that gameplay design, right? So I'm just going to take the example you gave about the Banner Merchantman. Because the Banner Merchantman more than likely got dropped, they probably pivoted to another shop ship that we may see in the future. Sooner rather than later, right? As an example.
And like I was saying earlier, I'm glad they're doing that first with base building, like getting the shopping stuff out, and then the ship comes after. I think that's way better.
Good move.
Yeah. So if a shop ship turns up out of nowhere, I will not be surprised, because the Banner Merchantman, again, look at that 18-month turnaround. That's probably about 6 months from now. So probably around Invictus, we'll probably hear something. Oh, I don't know, maybe.
And it's clear that from the base building that they showed off that they're already thinking about it in terms of base building, in terms of shop creation. So that's definitely one of the priorities. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
So there's an image here that Space provided us of all the ships that are in and out, by the way, and you can literally go through that. And if you hear them start talking about, I don't know, medical, I look at ones on there and I can say, well, obviously the Apollo is going to come out. You can look at other things like the TAC and you can say, well, that's already out, so that'll probably more than likely come out at Invictus. You go look at other things like the G12. What game? Okay, that's not the best example. A better example is the Ranger. Right, the Ranger also requires tech to drive on the ground, and all the technical people are working on Squadron 42. So until that's done, you're probably not going to get that bike coming out, because it requires a different tech. Anything that requires something new, it's very limited. Right.
But then what about the G12?
Well, again, I think that's one of those vehicles. I don't know, Paul can probably speak this. It's a bit like the X1, wouldn't it be, Paul? Like where they have someone work on it when they've got spare downtime. That's how I see that vehicle.
It is not a priority. Unfortunately, it's not a priority. I do not like that mentality.
Yeah.
But from the perspective of CIG, I understand the thinking, which is the ground gameplay still hasn't been finished yet, and they could take time and have someone just knock it out because it wouldn't take them that long. But then they'd have to go back and fix it anyways, because then the ground gameplay doesn't work. So why build a new ground vehicle that when you did it doesn't function? But that's the logic. But then they're going to be releasing a bunch of ground vehicles in the next year, because we already saw that. So that even throws it out the window.
Yeah, and that's well, that's
Yeah.
the problem. Is like we can say, oh yeah, they're going to wait for gameplay, but then you get all these caveats.
Yeah,
and you have to explain for every single one of them why this vehicle isn't out and that vehicle. And
well, I asked them straight out, why did you build the Polaris? And they go, well, we had to pick one, and the group just wanted that one, so they made that one. And then because they made the Polaris, they also decided to make other ones that will work in the game gameplay-wise, like the Perseus. The Perseus is coming because it's combat. That's why it's coming, because that'll just go in and work.
It also brings up questions of if this is true, is the Apollo going to have some change to medical gameplay when it comes into the game? Are we going to see an update to medical gameplay with the Apollo?
I hope so. I really do.
Why, if not, then people were going to ask, why did this ship take so long? Like, if there's no updated gameplay for this, then why? And I'm guessing modularity was part of it.
Yeah, and also drones, I think. Doesn't that thing have drones?
Yeah.
It's got the Shepherd drone. It'll probably be one of the first drones we see in game, but I reckon you're more likely to see the ones on the BLD first, to be honest, but we'll have to wait and see.
True.
I want to give an example, and a really good example of this is the Spirit series. Cargo went straight in. E1, we're waiting for the NPC type stuff, and the Marky Mark didn't come in. We know they've been working on bounty hunting gameplay, but when that comes in, the Marky Mark will drop. You know, the Marky Mark is the Zeus Mark II MR. I just call it the Marky Mark because it's easier, and it's MR. Sorry for confusion.
One of my pledge
that's my
ships.
name for it.
I thought it would have been in by now.
Which one's that?
They were teasing a lot of bounty stuff before it came out. They were showing like, you know, the restraints in the videos. They were talking about how they would restrain NPCs. So I did thought I was under the impression that one would have been out by the time the ship came out, bounty hunting.
We get updates for other bounty ships though. So the Avenger Stalker will get an update, and the Cutlass Blue will get an update. Look, all those ships will get things that bring them up to par.
Yeah, Jared mentioned something about this not too long ago in an SCL about bounty hunting V2 getting delayed, so all the bounty hunting ships kind of got pushed with that and all that.
Yeah, it's clear that it was intended to come out sooner, but there was some sort of pivot, and I think that pivot was base building. Base building became the main focus. So that basically all the technical people who would be working on bounty hunting had to shift over to base building, and so now they're working on base building because that's the main focus, and they really want to drill down on it because they know that's well, it's more than just the new fun thing. It's the new 1.0. So like it's the standard they want to get it at. So if they can, it's the last gameplay hurdle for them to nail out a end game. And I don't know if it's necessarily a good move. It's a move, but you know, we'll have to see how it works. So.
All right, well, that's the backlog. Last bit I want to go over with you guys is a little bit more of a fun and exciting one. I want to know what your most anticipated ship is. What are you most looking forward to in the near or long term? Or if there is none, what is a concept that you wish they would make?
Paul, you ready? Spice, you ready? Spice, you ready? Right. Go on, Spice. Go on, Spice. Go on, Spice.
Join us. Join us. Join the cult of the Endeavor. Other than the Endeavor, because that's just the given, is probably the Ironclad. Because
that'll be a good one. That'll be a good one.
I mean, I'm torn between the Perseus and the Ironclad because the Ironclad is more what I want to do, but the Perseus is more of a like you and the lads getting a beer, go blow things up on a weekend.
Blow things up. Show. Somebody said in chat earlier that the Ironclad is going to probably be like one of the most popular ships they've ever released. You guys think that's true? Like, is it going to be?
Yeah. It looks awesome.
It's 4 to 5 person. It's combat related. It's small, so it's not going to eat your resources. But it packs a big punch. It's smaller than the Hammerhead.
All of the ships I think are big or small.
I'm going to be honest. I think they should have called it the Butterfly because caterpillars turn into butterflies.
The Drake Butterfly? What the?
But yeah, that's what's going to happen. So many people are going to go, "Oh, I've got a caterpillar," and they brought out a butterfly.
God.
A butterfly skin. That's what I want. CIG. Butterfly skin for the Ironclad.
Oh, some little wings on the back. That's cute.
No, I don't know. You can make it whatever you want, but I reckon that'd be really funny. Like an emote, and if you upgrade your caterpillar, you get it for free.
It's like a tattoo that someone got at a festival in 2006 and regrets it. Kind of that kind of butterfly, you know.
You can just make it a graffiti. You know the graffiti skin? You can do the graffiti skin, but it's like a butterfly on it as well, and just call it the butterfly butterfly Ironclad or something. But yeah, that's how I do it. Because that's going to happen. So many people are going to upgrade from the caterpillar to that thing. Yeah,
I think the Ironclad's an interesting one, and it's cool that they mentioned with that ship that they're going to have that sort of privacy cargo section to still give this sense that like we do have separate security systems and tools and methods of enforcing them. It'll be interesting to see how that works. It also makes it sound like the Ironclad is going to be a great location for like PvE missions where you have to break onto an Ironclad and steal something or sneak around. But yeah, it'll be an interesting ship. I'm surprised they're working on it so soon.
Yeah, Prison Break maybe. Prison Break on that ship.
Exactly. They did one on Caterpillar before, something like it.
I love that mission, by the way.
That's a good one. That is a good one. One of the best.
I know the guy who actually built that mission. He doesn't work for CIG anymore, but he would be chuffed that you like that mission because he spent a lot of time working on it. So
it's a good one, man.
I think that's half the reason the Ironclad is being built because it removes a lot of the complexity of the Caterpillar. It's just one big room. so they can do more with it on missions and stuff.
Should have just never made the caterpillar. Should have made this first.
Well, I will say the cat getting its detachable little brain would be really nice because then you can load cargo way easier.
It's Clang. It's Clang. It's coming for you.
It's that whole thing. That combined, in fact, that's something on the Ironclad too, is the escape pod thing. When I saw that in the Ironclad's little video, it made me go back, like take a step back for a minute and think there are a lot of ways that this game is starting to come together that people weren't really thinking of. Things like crafting and space station construction and like power management and bases.
Yeah.
What about survival mechanics? A lot of people don't like that there's food or dehydration or like stamina and stuff like that. They think that it doesn't belong in a game like this, but survival mechanics in a space game I think are pretty important because space is freaking dangerous. And
we haven't got to suits yet either. That's going to be a massive thing with the suits, like the freezing and the hot and all that stuff.
Radiation.
It's also escape pods are a big part of spaceships. The lack of them is a big part in some spaceships, and the Ironclad and Caterpillar both have specially detachable command modules meant for that. So I wonder how much they're going to build into this idea that you can get off your ship on an escape pod, crash land on a planet, and you actually have to go through this process of trying to get rescue or trying to build up some sort of infrastructure for yourself.
Awesome.
Do me a favor next time you're in the Intrepid, land on a planet and try your escape seat.
Escape my seat?
Yeah, you can actually, there's a, what do you call it?
Like the ejection seat.
Yeah, ejection seat. Sorry,
Gotcha,
I couldn't think of the words, but yeah. I think we can't really underestimate the base building ships. I think they are fundamentally going to add so much gameplay, it's ridiculous. And not only that, but working together to feed those ships to build buildings is going to be really big. So all of a sudden, all the ships like the mining vessels, the salvage vessels, are going to have things to actually do with their goods, so to speak. So I think like this is going to be all this follow-on gameplay. Cargo people are actually going to be invested in bringing goods to the site as well. So it's going to tie a lot of the gameplay we already have together and give us something to do as a group. And sometimes, you know, if it's Pioneer level, an org. You know, we're going to actually see some org level gameplay. And then on top of that, what happens when you get Griefernet coming around? You know what I mean? Like it's going to be all hands on deck to get some of these buildings off the ground. And I'm really interested to see where it's going to go. So and it's sooner than you think.
Is that your top anticipated kind of stuff then?
For
besides
now,
the Endeavor?
So basically in the not too distant future, the build and the Pioneer, I think they're both really going to add to the game in way. You know, the build obviously will probably more than likely come first, as they've stated at CitizenCon. So the build, I think, will fundamentally usher in base building, and then the Pioneer, however long after that. But I'm looking forward to both those because not of the ships, but because of the gameplay.
Okay. Wookie, how about yourself?
What ships I'm looking forward to?
Yeah.
The Perseus, because that's one of my other ones I pledged and it looks awesome. But if I could create a ship or ask them to make one, I already got my tow truck. So Scooter's got a tow truck. I love being a dropship pilot. What's that?
Said Wookie's shaving ship. Sorry.
No, it's the Scooter Recovery Vehicle, SRV.
Oh, Scooter, let me just say, I love your video on the SRV where you like launched a nuke. It was so cool.
Oh, dude. Well, I got some more clips where I catch the size 10 torpedo coming out with the SRV. And if you're wondering if you can run with it, you can't. But I love being a dropship pilot. Like the most fun I ever had in Star Citizen was like the first year they launched Siege of Orison and trying to figure out how to get to the last platform. I was like, I don't know, jump in this Pisces, I guess. And then you're just getting obliterated trying to get your buddies over there. I love. Are
you about to say TAC? You about to say Starlance Attack?
No. So, well, like if I could pick a ship for them to make that I hadn't seen yet, you kind of hinted at execute or said that the new anvil ship might be is I want a ship that can drop any vehicle, kind of like the Sky Crane or helicopter you're talking about, where it's universal enough. You could pick up a Nova tank or you could pick up an STV, you know, just and a Steve and drop it. I think that'd be so awesome to have a universal vehicle drop ship. It's external, so there's no bay for it to go in. You kind of just grab it with like a, I don't know. We use
You could just have a
laser beams
tractor
and
beam.
everything.
You could have a couple of tractor beams under the body that just essentially
Yeah.
hold whatever it is up close to it. Yeah.
Yeah,
One of
that'd
my
be awesome.
one of my favorite ships in any fiction was the ATST transport in Star Wars Clone Wars, the second movie. They would just like
Yeah.
swoop on Geneva's here. That's
Genosis.
real. Genosis, that's
Genosis,
it.
yeah.
Genosis.
in the
Genos-
Geneva, in the War of Geneva with the aliens, the dropship would fly in and just like drop it and then leave, and it was just the coolest. I would do that. Like I was a little kid with the Legos, and I would do all the sound effects, and I'd be like, like
Oh, yeah,
I wanted to
Yep.
do that in a
That could be what this
physical
is,
way.
and that's why I got so excited for it when I was looking at it. But I hope I'm not wrong, because that will be actually like people are going to flock to this thing. I think if it is what I think it is, but we'll see.
But I'm also interested from a dropship pilot's perspective, and from the rest of you guys can chime in here too. How much pure dropship pilot gameplay do you think you get? You think you be the go-to dropship pilot for your org, and so you just wait for them to call on you? Do you like try to look for people who are doing group battles and offer
the
for them to
dropship
fly for
pilot
them?
people wanting groceries. You want some groceries out? John?
Yeah.
Groceries out for you.
Yeah, I was gonna say you are a truck driver. You're a truck driver who also carries people. Like
Okay.
that's I think that's the answer. Is like if you want to be a dropship pilot, your off time is going to be a cargo. Damn it, Wookie.
Cargo. You're a cargo driver.
That's right. You gotta deliver that cargo now.
And give me that Alabama shit. Come on.
I
over
wish
here.
this
All right.
episode was about cargo hauling. Then I could use Carger in the title. How's Carger doing? People are going to be like, what? Is there a new character in Star Citizen?
Well, while we're talking about that, just real quick, what do you think it would take, or how far away are we from being able to move NPCs to have that kind of gameplay where you could use a dropship to drop off at least NPCs, because not everybody's going to be able to have access to, 10 or 20 buddies or orgs that do that, and they want to. Like, what do we need to do that, to move NPCs and have that kind of gameplay?
So I think it's pretty close. They've talked about the planetary nav mesh, and we now have more missions like the NPCs on the ground at outposts. We have them on the surface of bunkers now. There was a video a while back where they showed an NPC walking onto a cutlass, sitting on a seat, all that. So I don't think it's very far away, honestly. But a lot of gameplay, I've been saying for a while, a lot of gameplay, to have players doing that in the game, you need to have the PvE version of that in order for players to actively be doing that thing, right? So we need a PvE medical mission, we need PvE personal transport, refueling, towing, all of that, so people are actively doing these things in the verse, so that when somebody calls on that service, someone's already doing it. You don't have to wait for someone to go out, get that ship to come help you, There'll be more people actively doing it. So if we have that, it'll not only get personal transport working, but also medical, because it'll be the same thing, NPCs moving on your ship and all that.
It's one
You've
of those...
still got a little bit of a wait for that stuff, because they're going to finish server meshing before they can build the tools to even do missions. That's one of the things I learned. They don't actually have tools for a lot of the missions.
Like the refractor?
Yeah, so until server meshing's out, well, think about it. Why would you build a tool to build missions, then server meshing comes out, and then you got to rebuild the whole tool all over again?
Makes
I
sense.
think they're still going to use their subsumption builder, their editor with Apollo. But I do think that what you're describing is a problem, like with a lot of stuff. 5-star is that a lot of times people, this is the problem with the game overall that people have, even with getting started up, is everything takes a long time because nobody's used to doing it, or it's not something that normally should have to be done. Like the idea that you do have to go and outfit your whole character and add all your med pens and get your water and your weapons and your ammo and all this stuff whenever you start out at a space station and get on your ship and go do the missions is different from the idea that the ship should already be at the mission place and you should be in bed already geared up and ready to go within seconds.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the same thing. It's like, yeah, you could go down and need a medic, but the first person who's going to want to be your medic is like, oh, well, I wasn't doing that because there's never any medic gameplay needed.
Yeah.
I was mining.
And quick side note, that's why I love the Pisces so much, the C8R. I think it's one of the best ships ever made because it comes with medical equipment for you to go save someone every time you spawn it. So if you're in the middle of bunker running and you see a med beacon, you're good to go. Even if you didn't start your bunker, you got stuff in the ship.
When we get suit lockers, that's going to help a lot, I think. Unless I misunderstood them, when we get suit lockers, you'll be able to kind of one click put on that stuff in that suit locker. So you have like, this is
That's
my
the idea.
medical, I'm going in guns blazing suit, whatever.
So
You're going to go from naked Wookie to fully clothed Wookie in instance. Off we go.
That's a Metal Gear Solid name right there. Naked Wookie.
Naked Wookie. Yeah, that'd be terrifying.
That is a good one. That is a good one. So 5-star, you're mostly anticipated as kind of just like passenger transport ships.
No. Mine is actually the Pioneer 100%.
Oh, okay.
So even if it wasn't coming this year, even if they didn't do the whole base building panel, none of that, I backed this game because I saw the Pioneer commercial with and I noticed in pretty much everything in this game, it's like more British, more like European. But for the Consolidated Outlands, they bought the most American dude, the CEO of Consolidated Outlands, and he came out and was just talking about, putting power in the hands of the people and
Silas Kerner,
colonies.
The all new Pioneer.
I was so pumped after that. And
Matthew McConaughey. It's Star Citizen's Matthew McConaughey.
It is.
I love it.
It really is.
And I come from games like Ark Survival Evolved and Rust and stuff.
Nice.
So that's what I was into before I was into SC. And my friend was trying to get me to play the game for a long time, and I just didn't come around. And he showed me that video, and I was like, dude, one day base building in this, sign me up. So I've been waiting for the Pioneer for years. And the fact that now base building is seemingly very close to being a reality, I am so pumped for it.
I have a follow-up question for you there, 5-star, since you're a Rust player. Are you sad that you will not be able to honeycomb the hell out of your ship? Or out of your base?
No. So,
What does that even mean?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't want like Rust level base building in this game. I had heard, I think it was like last year's SitCon, they said it was going to be similar to like Fallout, where it's, you get the resources, you do the prefabs, I felt like that made way more sense for a game like this, personally.
Yeah,
so I'm really happy with it.
For those who don't know what honeycombing is, it's this would make these atrocious looking bases, which are all just.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful.
It's kind of like the difference between like a walled city and a castle. Like a honeycombed base is a castle where it's designed, every single door is locked and is designed to take as much damage as possible. So it takes you like hours to break in. Yeah.
So that you don't get all your stuff lost while you're offline.
Yes. So offline.
Really
you might be happy to hang on. I've been wanting to say this for a minute. You might be surprised to know you're not the only Ark streamer or Ark content creator that's actually made their way here. There's some really big Ark people that are into Star Citizen. So I'll introduce you to some if you're interested.
Oh, awesome! Anyway, that's why the creatures I also thought were really cool, just because it gave me more of that Ark vibe. But really quickly, there's a new thing that my friend told me about in Ark in Rust that I think would be cool for SC. It's basically like a little alarm that you can set up in your base, and if you get offline rated, it sends a notification to a phone app, and you're getting offline rated, so you can jump on.
Absolutely. I mean, we should have Spectrum on our phones. Dude, there's so many things. Like I would want, if we got Spectrum on our phone, I'd want the ability to straight up get my character onto a ship and transport them somewhere else while I'm offline. If you want to do the whole you can't teleport and stuff, wouldn't it be nice to just know you have an event going on from ArcCorp at the end of the day, but your guy is over at Crusader, so you have them go and like, I don't know, they can even represent your person as an NPC, so you're not actually risking your whole character, and just say walk onto a ship and do that whole thing, because that provides other people with gameplay transporting NPCs, and it gamifies you moving around.
Yeah, and they mention like the free shuttle, but I like your idea more of people doing it.
Does that mean they transport you like a mental patient, like you're all strapped in and all right, off we go into the
everybody is just sitting on the ship, just looking straight forward.
Yeah.
Little glitch.
Mental patient transport ship.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for talking with me about ships for this hour and over a half. A lot of ship talk, but it is IAE, so that makes sense. We will have to reconvene in a week. No, I'm kidding. We'll see how everything fares out with the Paladin coming out. But overall, I think these were some good, thoughtful opinions on IAE. I think there's going to be a lot of feelings about this event, especially after it's all said and done. especially depending on how 4.0 comes out. So we'll see what happens there. But thank you guys for joining me for this discussion. I think people are going to get a lot of good info from this, and I'm going to let y'all tell everybody where they can find your stuff. Yes?
Can I ask one really quick question, just a yes or no from everyone? The pinnacle of this sale is going to be around Anvil Day and Paladin, yeah?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Now that I know they're not doing the BLD or anything, yes, 100%.
Wookie?
I don't know.
All right.
I hope so.
Yeah. Space?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Because
just checking. So it's building is what I'm asking. Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe the best for last.
I don't think every IAE is like that, but with the way that this has come about, like we talked about with 4.0 being sort of weighing on people as not being here yet, with the Polaris and the Intrepid already being available to players before this kind of went live in their own sales days, with the alien ship that people are expecting not actually be ready for this, and then just because everybody's like, oh, this IE is dead, but they've already put out more ships than they usually do. It's just that the hype is just not there with this stuff, and I do think that it'll peak with the Paladin, but I think even then, man, Star Citizen is just in a place where there's a ceiling on the hype, and they got to get 4.0 out in performance to break that.
Yeah, I the thing that is important to remember, especially with these sales, is that it wasn't looking good at the beginning of Invictus, and then when the Ironclad came out, everyone they broke records with the Ironclad. So all it takes is a good ship that people are interested in, that people could bring them back in. But I do think that in order for them to salvage this year, it's got to be 4.0 is got to come out. They got to end this sale strong and actually come out with a 4.0.
Yeah.
So,
and with that, you mind letting the folks know where they can find your content? Paul.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You can find me at twitch.tv/theastropub or youtube.com/theastropub live if you want to, see me play the video game and other games and talk about it stuff. And you can find me on youtube.com/TheAstroHistorian if you want to hear about lore of Star Citizen and other science fiction universes. And if you like podcasts like this, I do my own podcast called The Captain's Table Podcast, which has now got a new home at the youtube.com/theastro or the Captain's Table Podcast.
What?
It's gonna go fully live at the new year. I'm currently uploading a bunch of the old videos, so it'll have pretty much everything I've archived from 2016 to this year. And starting December 1st, I'm gonna roll out every episode this year so far on the channel every day. So every day is going to be a new episode.
Jeez.
So to catch up to you. So it's a lot. Well over. We have like 40 episodes a year. We've been doing this for 8 years. So like well over several hundred episodes.
I mean,
I'm currently uploading.
Is your internet going to be okay?
I've got gigabyte. I'm fine.
All right.
Gigabit. So
dang, man. Cool. Well, that's another channel we'll have to add to our links for Paul at the end of our podcasts. Execute.
I guess if you like ship talk like we've had today, Infrunners does a lot of ship stuff, ship gameplay, financials on ships, how to get ships for cheaper. Ships really is our jam. And then we do speculation on other things too, like just different gameplays coming in. We'll bring in professionals to talk about different gameplay, on thoughts on where that would go. And we do speculate on a lot of things, but there's not a lot else to do right now. So I enjoy talking about what could be or what if. So yeah. Algrid will be there, and these two gentlemen will be there for time. And Loken.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good group. Good talks.
YouTube.com/Infrunners. Yeah.
I think I am generally considered the
least ship person.
Negative Nancy of the group, yeah. People are like, why is he here?
You need different views to make things rattle out, and there are things that you've said that have shaked ideas out, and I know that both you gents and the other two gents have shaked ideas out that we've had during speculation sessions that have just changed how we think about things, and you need those differing opinions. I'm all for different opinions.
Also, people just like attribute negativity where there's not. They just want to see it.
You bring us, you ground us when it comes to spending way too much money. Let's be honest, Algrid needs more of it. Let's be honest.
I'm real good at that. The reality grounds me when it comes to that.
Yeah.
5-Star, how about yourself?
So you can catch me as The5Star on Twitch and YouTube. Catch me on Twitch. I'm currently in the weeds of 4.0, trying to find as much as I can for the next Shadow patch notes. It's been a little touch and go. I've been playing a lot of live too with friends for safe stancing, but trying to find stuff for 4.0. I'm also trying to co-stream on YouTube, something I'm looking into, so stay tuned for that. Hopefully we get that going soon.
It's a very good idea. YouTube's where it's at. Wookie.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And I was just going to ask you about that, but we can talk after the pod.
For sure. Wookie, how about you?
Yeah, I'm on the YouTubes. It's on the interwebs. If you want to see a space redneck with his overweight Meemaw that has her own gravitational pull, sells ships on a desert moon, that's where you'll find that sort of content.
Hell yeah.
Normally the rings sit around the moon of yellow. In this case, it's around his Meemaw. Right.
I just want to see some Karger content.
It's on the moon of Damer. In case anyone's unfamiliar.
Trading Damer with
trading
Karger on Damer.
It's always 50% off at Scooter's.
Everything is always 50% off. Y'all come on down. Tell Scooter sent you.
Is it up after he puts it up 100%?
The higher you go in octave, the more percentage off it is.
Yeah.
It is.
All right, boys. Well, thank you so much again for joining me for this. Appreciate you guys. Hope you got to have some, got something off your chest, little soapbox moments, little rants out here and there. And thank you everybody for listening. If you are listening live here during the streamathon, appreciate you a ton. This is not the end. I'm going to be heading off and seeing these guys out the door, and then I will be back with you with some more 4.0 gameplay for, I guess, another 2 hours or so. So stick around if you'd like. If you are watching this after the fact, we don't always do these live. I mean, Citizen Central does happen live once a month, but also our other podcast happens live every week for supporters. So if you are a Twitch sub or YouTube member or anything, join us on Discord, get involved in that. It's a good way to come watch the show and get to meet the community. Either way though, folks, thank you again so much for watching this. I hope you got some entertainment, some information, some good fun out of this. We will be back with Citizen Central next month to look at how the overall year went. And I will see you next week on the launch sequence. Thanks again, everybody. See you on the next one.